You know, folks, the one thing about MAGA is ever since Donald Trump came into the political arena, I have had a hard time telling what is real life and telling what is satire. And to this day, this far into MAGA, I still see things and I still somehow, I don't know why I do it, don't ask. But for some reason, I will still give them the benefit of the doubt and say, no, wait, hold on. This has to be AI. This can't be real. They wouldn't cross this bridge. They wouldn't take it this far. And that's exactly what happened on this next clip. When I stumbled across it, Ron Filipkowski had shared it, and I seen that he had shared it. So I was like, okay, it's probably legit since he shared it. But even with him sharing it, I was going, wait, hold on. This can't be. And I literally sat and I watched this clip 3 or 4 times. And then I went to try to fact check and try to look through to see if it was real, to see if her mouth was really lining up with the stupidity coming out of it. And yes, folks, Lauren Boebert thinks the Tiger King should be pardoned. No, I wished I was making it up, but I'm not. Take a look.
I haven't read into the actual charges. I've watched the show, certainly. So what he was actually convicted of, put that before the pardon team, and I'm sure they'll see this and have conversations with me and many others. Joe Exotic has reached out to me, or at least his team has in the past, and other members of Congress for sure. And like I said, he was a fantastic unifier. And Alex, I don't know if you've been offered any tigers to make this proposition, to make this
I have
request.
a bunch of tigers. No, I have in Hillsborough, Texas. I have an illegal tiger farm. So,
no, I think truly I enjoyed the heart and sentiment of Joe, and since he's been in prison, his outreach and even him wanting to run against President Trump while in prison is certainly a part of the American grit and spirit. But we'll see what the pardon team says and keep putting in words for him.
You know, folks, the funniest part about that clip to me is that Joe Exotic, the Tiger King, has looked at Lauren Boebert and said, yeah, that's the person I need to call to get my pardon. I need to call Lauren Boebert. When Joe Exotic thinks he needs to call you for anything to get help with anything, yeah, you've completely jumped the shark. But I love how she says, I don't know what it is that he's charged with. I don't know what it is that he's done, but we'll put it up before the pardon team and let them take a look at it. The pardon team. She actually said that with a straight face. So do they just have a department now? Do they have a team now that just sits around and just takes stories from any random Yahoo out there? I've said this before in a joking way, but the more that I say it in the joking way, the more I realize that it wouldn't be satire if I open up social media one day and I see Tex Watson from the Manson family sitting there going, I got my pardon because I reached out to Marjorie Taylor Greene and she put me through to Trump and he got me pardoned for slaughtering Sharon Tate. I would not be shocked. Although for whatever reason, I will still somehow catch myself going, it's not that I'm giving them, let me backtrack here. It's not that I'm actually giving them the benefit of the doubt. It's just that I don't want to be the guy that's spreading the bullshit. I don't want to be the guy that's spreading the fake AI. So I try really hard to not be that dude. No, actually, truthfully, I can believe that they would post something that dumb, but I just don't want to be the guy to repost dumb stuff if it's not true. But nothing anymore really shocks me with MAGA. And when it comes to this idea of let's just pardon any random person, we don't know what they're charged with. We don't know how many people they got in their crawl space, but let's just go ahead and hear their story. And as long as they say the Democrats made me do it, or it was somehow Joe or Hunter Biden's fault, then yeah, give them a pardon and let them out on the streets. And that is the type of people that MAGA has no problem whatsoever being aligned with. It's those kind of people. There was a time in American history where being aligned with a person like that would end your political career. Hell, people made fun of Jimmy Carter over his brother Billy. They made fun of the Billy Beer. You know, one of my favorite comedians, the late great Louis Grizzard, even had a quote that said, I think Jimmy Carter might have got elected if he'd have made his brother Billy wait in the truck. I mean, there are people in history who has been completely ended over people they were associated with, and yet MAGA has a pardon team, I guess now, that just hears people out regardless of what it is they've done, and they don't even really seem to care. That's what cracked me up about it the most. It's like, yeah, I don't really know what he did, but hey, he reached out. I think he needs a pardon. We'll put it before the pardon team, and we'll align ourselves with the Joe Exotics of the world. We'll align ourselves with John Wayne Gacy. We don't care. It's went so far now into the WWE, so far now into the Jerry Springer episode, that I don't think they will ever be able to come out of it. They won't be. I think they will just stay right there. I think the rest of us, reasonable people, there will be reasonable people who will walk away. There will be people that will eventually get disheartened with it to the point that, hey, you know what? I thought I was getting something different. I'm not. I'm just getting Bush Light, so let me go over here now. And there'll be people regroup. But I think the hardcores will stay right there with the Lauren Boeberts, with the Marjorie Taylor Greens, with all those people. I think they'll just stay there. And they'll probably try to rebuild or rebrand once Trump's gone. They'll try to find a new front man, and it will never work. It'll be like, wrestling, going back to the wrestling analogies. You had the Attitude Era back in the 90s. For those of you that watch wrestling, you know what I'm talking about. For those of you that don't, you'll get the idea. WCW came along, and they just kicked the WWF's ass for 83 weeks straight in the ratings. They were the number one show, and then they hired a bunch of actors that thought they could do a lighter version of the WWE. They hired the Vince Russos of the world, and the next thing you know, they just ran that product right in the dirt. So hopefully, when it comes to MAGA, what I'm hoping that we are to the Vince Russo WWE era of MAGA. I hope that we can get to there, to where we got the people who are just trying to do the cheap imitations, and then they'll just die of their own bad breath, and then reasonable and logical people can get back to having reasonable and logical conversations. But I got to be honest with you, I truly do believe that all hope is lost for the Lauren Boeberts of the world, and for the people like that just latches on to that. And I know people like, well, Brando, that's not a good way to look at it. We should want to win those people back. We should want to bring those people back, folks. There are some people in this world who are they're not savable. They're really not. They're not ever going to come back because they were never here for the right reasons. Okay, so you might be able to convince one of them to vote for who you want to vote for, but they're never going to stick around for the issues at hand. They're never going to stick around to fight for the true issues, because all they were wanting was entertainment. And when they heard Lauren Boebert say that, the rest of us went, what? Is that satire? Is that real? Is she really saying that? But MAGA went, hell yeah, free the Tiger King, free Vince McMahon. I mean, it's just, that's who they are. And their vote counts. That's what I keep trying to tell people all the time. Their vote counts, folks. So you have to remember that the next time you go to vote or even think about voting. A stupid vote counts the same as a smart vote. So you have to realize that, and realize this is the type of people that we're up against, that we're going to be up against for a long time, because they just love the entertainment. That's all this is to them. It's just an entertainment wing of the Republican Party, and they love it, and they're here for it. And today it's the Tiger King. Tomorrow it's hard telling who it'll be, that they will be lining up and throwing their support behind. But if I was sitting on death row and had been there for a long time for whatever I did, I'd be, if I was allowed to watch TV and I had a TV anywhere near me and I had been following Donald Trump, I'd be looking around going, yeah, I believe I might be able to get me a pardon. All I got to do is tell him Hunter Biden made me do it, and I'll be in the clear. The Republican Party, the party of my grandfathers, the party that used to be all about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, is now the party that has a pardon team, and they're going to consider Joe Exotic. Sometimes I go to my grandpa's grave and I say to myself, man, it would be awesome if you were here to talk with. And then I say to myself, no, I would really be ashamed to have to tell you what your party and what your church turned into. So yeah, Papa, just don't look down.